What's good, y'all? You know what I'm saying? This is Kills, and we back with another reaction video. Now, today, I said, I posted half of this yesterday. If you didn't watch it, I'm gonna put it around here. Y'all go watch that motherfucker, nigga. But, you know what I'm saying? And Merry Christmas, because, you know, Christmas is yesterday, you know what I'm saying? Hope you get everything you wanted, like I said, you know what I'm saying? And isn't today Kwanzaa or Hanukkah? Ain't today Hanukkah? I think. I don't know. I think today's Hanukkah. Not too sure. But, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be watching the other half of this video, you know what I'm saying? And you might notice something, you know what I'm saying? I did get a new camera, you know what I'm saying? You can see my sexy ass, my pretty ass. Where the fuck is my glasses? Okay. Inquisitive Kills has entered the building. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I got a new camera and I got a green screen and a laptop. Now I'm using my old laptop right now because everything gets set up on my new one, so I gotta wait patiently. And I got a green screen, which if I get it set up tomorrow, I'll use it. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna look nice. I swear, I bet you. I'll tell you, man. But other than that, we're gonna get straight into the video for part 2. And before the video starts, you know what I'm saying, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Post notifications because I will be posting weekly. You know how we coming. But we can get straight into the video. And I'm leaving a link in the description. Wanna watch it, you know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Come on. Look at Grandma. So yesterday, Grandma would have got her ass beat, boy.
The worst part about all of this is that this will probably be the Christmas that I always remember the most. This is a short story that happened to me approximately 3 to 4 years ago. I used to work for a charitable company that would distribute presents to families or individuals in need during the holiday time. For the most part, I loved this job. It paid decently well and was incredibly rewarding. But on this one specific Christmas Eve, it was enough for me to never want to do something like this again. I usually worked or traveled with another associate named Jose, but since it was Christmas Eve and it was our last stop, I told him I would go alone, and he could go home to his wife and enjoy what was left of the holiday. It was about 5 p.m., so it was getting pretty dark as I made my way toward the recipient's house. Man? I arrived and went up to...
Hey, we're back. I'm sorry. I still ain't checked this video, my nigga. Shit dumb.
To the door with a big tote of presents all wrapped and ready to be distributed as they pleased.
I know y'all see nigga walking on his tippy toes. You know, I don't understand how people be doing that shit and why, but that shit is... I don't know, niggas be having strong ass calves by doing that shit.
A man answered the door in pajama pants and a skin-tight sleeveless shirt. The guy was overweight and clearly did not take care of himself. He looked like he hadn't shaved or showered in weeks. I said to him in my still bubbly voice, "Hi, I'm Jamie and I'm here to drop off the presents." He stared at me and smiled with his yellow unbrushed teeth. He looked right at me and said, "Wow. You sure are pretty," which freaked me out a little bit.
Whoa, yeah. Why the fuck it got a buffer, yo? You know, my internet is not doing.
I just awkwardly smiled and said, "Thanks."
Yeah, bitch, I know.
He then said, "Honey, I have a lot of trouble with my back and I can't lift these presents. Will you please bring them into my living room for me?" Like a fool, I complied, as this wasn't an uncommon request to bring the presents in the home for those receiving them. I walked in, and the man shut the door behind me. I walked slowly in his near pitch-black house. When I noticed in the few seconds of being in this house was that there were no signs of children, Christmas decorations, or anything that even looked remotely festive. I turned around to ask him where I was going, and that's when I noticed him. He was hunched over and staring at me like I was a piece of meat, basically salivating. He started to approach me and put his arms out like he was going for an embrace or a hug.
Okay.
More creeped out than I've ever been in my entire life, I decided the answer was to just run away. I dropped the present.
See, this is what we not finna fucking do. I'm gonna come back when this bitch stop fucking buffering. And we back. Yes, sir. We're back. Let's get it on.
He locked it behind me. The knob was locked, and so was the chain. I quickly was able to get them undone and out of the house without any further incident. I got into my car and called my supervisor and explained the situation to him. What he told me next made my eyes fill up with tears. I had mixed up 2 of the numbers in my GPS when I set out for the house. I was on the wrong block and clearly at the wrong house. The guy wasn't expecting presents and played along to get me into his house. I have no idea what his intentions were and am thankful nothing else happened. Running through the scenario in my head makes me wonder how I was able to undo the locks before he grabbed me or made a move towards the door. However, his pause in action or change of heart may have very well saved my life. The traumatizing events of this story happened to me several years ago. This is the first time I'm sharing my story publicly in hopes it may help others who read it. At the time, I was a mother of a 4-year-old daughter. Her name is Juniper, and she is my entire life. The day of these events, my husband was at work, so I decided to do some Christmas shopping at the mall. On the way in, Juniper saw Santa sitting in the middle of the atrium and began jumping because I assumed she associated Santa with presents. We decided to get into line, even though it was long. We could get a picture and she could tell Santa what she wanted for Christmas. When it was finally Juniper's chance to sit on his lap, I immediately felt uncomfortable. I didn't like the way he was staring at her. His eyes were big and looked as if though he had been on something. She sat there for a moment and told the man what she wanted as I watched, filled with anxiety. After about 2 minutes, he got her off his lap and winked goodbye to her and said Merry Christmas. Happy this ordeal was over, we did the little bit of shopping we had to do and pressed on through the day. While I was browsing around one of the clothing stores, I looked up and thought I noticed the mall Santa sitting outside of the store we were in. Not taking any chances, I grabbed Juniper and walked out of the other entrance of the store. After a little while longer of shopping, we decided to get some lunch in the food court of the mall. I kept my...
What type of meal is that? That shit, that thick ass bone with that little piece of meat on that shit. Come on.
Eyes peeled because
that is a human
I just
bone,
had mother's intuition that something wasn't right. We were finishing our food and literally as we were about to get up, the mall Santa came over to our table.
What the hell?
He walked right up to Juniper and said in a jolly Santa-like voice, "Hey there, Juniper. Remember to be good so Santa can come and bring you lots of presents." She was so excited, and so were all the people around me.
I know what it is.
It's easy to say what you would do in that situation, but I just stood still. I thought freaking out my daughter and rushing her away from Santa would be a traumatizing event, so I grabbed her hand and told her it was time to go. She said goodbye to Santa, and we left. That night at home, I told my husband about the entire story. He was angry, but agreed with my course of action. The next day, I woke up at about 8 a.m. My husband was already gone for work for the day. I happened to look outside and saw a strange blue car that I had never noticed parked outside my house. This didn't really bother me considering it could have been anyone, but it was just peculiar. At about 11 a.m., I looked out the window again and noticed the car was still in the exact same spot. I made the choice to go out to my mailbox in the front of my home and investigate the car. The car was empty, except for the passenger seat. There was a Santa hat on the seat. I tried not to jump to any conclusions, but it was just starting to make too much sense in my head. I ran inside and called my husband. He said I was grasping at straws, but decided to come home anyway to make sure I was okay. A couple of minutes later, my worst fear was realized. I looked out the window and saw the man in his car. It was the mall Santa, and he was taking a picture of my house with his cell phone. Once he saw me, he drove away, and he drove away so fast I couldn't get the license plate number. Minutes later, my husband came home and I explained what I saw. We called the authorities, but there really wasn't anything that could be done. I felt angry with myself that I looked at the car all morning and couldn't get a license plate number. My husband stayed home from work the next day just in case. At about noon, we walked around the house and noticed footprints outside of Juniper's window. Footprints in the snow that neither of us left. That night, I couldn't sleep. I felt like I was just waiting for something horrible to happen. My husband, Juniper, and I all decided to have a camp out in the living room so she could be with us all night. Shortly after midnight, my husband and I were alerted to the sound of a car pulling up. It was the mall Santa car from the day before, and he was approaching the house with a giant bag in his hand. I called the police, as my husband stalked him through the windows. The lights were off, so the mall Santa couldn't see us through the windows. He made his way all the way to Juniper's window. He started to tap on the windows, almost as if though he was trying to wake her up. My husband stood on the other side of the window, trying not to scare him away until the cops came. That's when we heard it. "Hey, Juniper, it's Santa. Come take a ride in my sleigh and I'll show you the reindeer." Praying that the cops would show up any minute, I sat in the fetal position, not knowing if this lunatic had a gun or any other weapon. He kept tapping and whispering, "It's me, Santa." Finally, the cops showed up, and when we heard the sirens out front, my husband jumped out the window and tackled the mall Santa. My husband yelled for the cops, and the cops detained the man. He didn't have any weapons on him, but his car did have duct tape and rope. It gives me nightmares to this day, thinking of that horrible situation and what could have happened. My Christmas miracle is that my family is safe, and my daughter didn't have to really experience any of the intense feelings my husband and I did over those couple of days. If you as a parent have instincts about the safety of your child, please follow them. If I would have just left the mall when I felt uneasy, I could have possibly avoided this entire series of events.
Suspicious is she wanted to do that.
This happened 2 years ago, but I always think about it. Every Christmas Eve, we spend the evening at my grandparents' house where we have a feast and swap presents with cousins, all the people we won't be with on Christmas morning. It was a merry and festive evening, and spirits were high, if not a little worn out, on our way home. Pulling into our driveway, we instantly felt something was off. The corner of our house decoration lights were hanging haphazardly free of the roof, and something else we couldn't quite pinpoint right away. Luckily, the kids were already asleep from the soothing dark car ride, so we sat in the driveway, the motor off and ticking as it starts to cool. "Did we leave that many lights on inside?" my husband asked me, because he would never. He is a stickler for turning out lights before we leave. I shook my head no. The Christmas tree was the only thing we left on. But now there was a soft glow from the windows at two ends of the house. One being the primary living room area toward the front where we were, and the other the window at the left side.
Motherfuckers, that boo-boo? And why is the welcome mat on the side of the house? That's some dumbass shit. Well, it's boo-boo next to the mat. Why wouldn't the mat be in the front of the house? This idiotic, my nigga.
The hallway by our bedroom, and it slightly lit the side yard between our house and the neighbor. We both agreed that it looked like someone was or had been in our home. "Call the cops. Stay in the car with the doors locked." He re-cranked the car, and I didn't even bother getting out. I just slid over the center console into the driver's seat just in case. He has a concealed carry permit, so he drew
got
his
the
weapon
strap, nigga.
and went to check the front door.
He feeling like this nigga
It was still locked, so he unlocked it about the time I started telling the police that our house seemed suspicious and we thought someone might be in it. They, of course, said that we should wait outside, but I knew that there was no use in telling my husband that, as he was already starting inside and flicking on more lights. It was nerve-wracking to sit there and watch the open front door spilling light onto the lawn. I cracked my window just the tiniest bit so I could hear sooner if something started happening. Luckily, nothing did, and when the cops pulled up, I let them know my husband was inside and what he was wearing since he did have his gun out. but all the opening and shutting of car doors alerted him and woke the kids, so he'd come back to the front door with his gun back under his jacket. I went back to keep the kids busy while he talked to the cops, and then the cops cleared the house.
Straight as fuck.
Our visitors were no longer there, but they had broken in through the backyard. Many of our Christmas presents were gone, the heaviest ones it seemed, as I'd bought most of them, and they had left one of their own, a large pile of poop on the back porch mat. Decorations I had up inside were knocked down and scattered all over the place. The tree completely disheveled. 2 pieces from my nativity scene were smashed on the floor. Our laptops were gone, and my jewelry box had also been pilfered. But unbeknownst to them, although some had sentimental meaning, that was all custom or low-level stuff. Anything real was in our hidden safe they had not found. My husband made sure not to touch the light switches that had been on so that they could dust for prints, and other evidence was taken, and we gave a report for the theft. It seems they spent a while inside the house without much fear, brazenly turning on lights, leaving a steaming pile, and maybe as they left, hopping up and tearing the Christmas lights off the corner of the house. No out-of-the-place fingerprints came back, so they must have been wearing gloves, and it remains unsolved. Next year, I asked for a security system for Christmas.
Wow. What the fuck?
30 seconds left.
Hey, that was it. Hey, shit. But you know what I'm saying? Sorry for all the cuts. It's just these commercials and my internet was janky. Cause everybody on it right now. But, you know what I'm saying? Hope you enjoyed the video, you know what I'm saying? Like, comment, subscribe, post notifications because I will be posting weekly, you know what I'm saying? This was just a little video I wanted to upload because I need to get something out right now, you know what I'm saying? While I wait for my stuff to get right. But, you know what I'm saying? Follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave a link in the description if you want to watch this. You probably don't want to watch this bullshit because it's ass the fuck out. Yeah. But, you know what I'm saying? Follow me on Instagram, ORN_kids. Link in the description, you know what I'm saying? And peace, y'all. Happy Kwanzaa. Yeah.